All right, we're out here today in the great, beautiful city of Glen Rose. Where else can you go pet a longhorn and find dinosaur tracks out in the rocks? This is a very unique spot. Around every corner, you're gonna see little blow-ups or statues of dinosaurs. This is Dinosaur Valley. You're gonna see statues of T-Rex, raptors at the coffee shop. This is one of the most unique cities you're gonna find in the state of Texas. It has beautiful hill country views. It has rolling hills. This is one of the most beautiful scenic views you're gonna find as well. So wonderful city. We're gonna highlight the pros and cons of moving to Glen Rose, Texas in 2026. So we're gonna jump into that right now. If this is your first time to the channel, we really appreciate you tuning in to today's episode. Be sure to click that subscribe button and press the bell for notifications so you'll get updates on anything going on here in the Glen Rose market. As always, we get people that reach out to us. Maybe you're thinking about retiring, maybe you have a job offer and you're looking for an area that's a little outside the city. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd love to give you any advice or help make this move a little smoother for you. So we're out here today in Glen Rose and we're gonna highlight some of the pros and cons. Now I've got a few venues that I'm gonna highlight back in my office. I'm gonna do a map view so you can see where Glen Rose is at. But for now, we're gonna hit kind of the big pro for Glen Rose is the charming, beautiful city at relatively affordable prices. Prices have gone up a lot in the last 5 years. They're probably gonna continue to do that over the next 5. But you can find some beautiful homes on 1 acre, 2 acres in Glen Rose. We have very low tax rates that are very affordable compared to what you're gonna find if you go into Fort Worth and Dallas trying to get the same thing. The con here is limited jobs, limited shopping. There's just not a lot of opportunities like that. So a lot of people do have to work out, outside of the city in some form or fashion. So that's one of the major cons. But we're here today on the Glen Rose Square and there's all sorts of restaurants and things around us. You can go grab some food, grab coffee, bake the bread and bakery place that was in Granbury that we've highlighted a few times has actually moved to a Glen Rose location. So big news, check that out if you're ever in visiting. But we're gonna jump into one of my favorite neighborhoods called Deer Creek. We're gonna highlight that and then we're gonna go back to the office and we're gonna give you the full scope of everything you need to know about Glen Rose. All right, we're out here in Deer Creek, which is one of my favorite subdivisions in Glen Rose. It is a fantastic neighborhood that is located right off of Highway 144 in between Granbury and Glen Rose. Excellent location if you're wanting to go into Glen Rose. Also excellent location if you are wanting to go into Granbury. I have friends that live out here. Personally, it's one of my favorite locations. There's not many homes, probably 20 homes total. There are a few that are located on the river here, back behind me. And it's just a little quiet cul-de-sac, no through traffic. So the people that turn in here usually live here in this neighborhood. So it's a wonderful place. I'm gonna highlight 3 homes that are for sale out here. I'm gonna show you some interior photos and kind of walk you through them. But they're gonna be in that $475 to $550 range is what you're gonna expect to get a home out here, not on the river. You can see these homes that are very nice curb appeal, nice board and batten. Some of them will have some brick, a lot of board and batten finishes. You can have a shop, as you can see over here. I'll show you in a second. You see these properties here have very nice curb appeal. The yards are well maintained. We're in a nice little end of a cul-de-sac here, which is great. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna highlight the entry, show you the entry coming into the neighborhood, and then we're gonna highlight the rest of it in the office when we do the big overview of all of Glen Rose. So I'll see you in a minute. All right, we're continuing our look at the pros and cons of moving to Glen Rose in 2026. Today, we're gonna do a map tour. We're gonna show you where Glen Rose is at on the map if you're not already familiar. We're also gonna highlight some of the venues, things to do, places to eat from on the computer. Sometimes it's a little easier to kind of get a good bird's eye of things you can do and stuff that's available there in the city. And then we're gonna review the pros and cons. And last of all, we're gonna do a quick look at the homes and things that are available. So I'm gonna share my screen with you. So this will be the homes. We'll get to that in a little bit. We wanna start with a few things that are pretty cool. Creation Evidence Museum. I know for some, they're not gonna be interested in this. some really neat stuff that's going on there at this place. So there's, as you know, there's a lot of dinosaur stuff. They found a lot of interesting things in Glen Rose, and if you have kids, especially if they're into like Christianity and some of the things there, it's something to go and take a look at. Dinosaur Valley State Park. It's a great place. We've taken our kids there. A really good place to visit. Also, Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. It's also a great spot. I mean, our kids had a blast when we went to Fossil Rim, so I highly recommend you check that place out. Big Rocks Park. It's a park. They have a little snow cone joint that is, I think it's called Funky Monkey, that's right outside, and kids can go out and play. It's a cool spot. The rocks are just these enormous boulders that are around, and kids kind of playing out in the river. It's an interesting place. So if you're around and it's hot out and you kind of like that sort of thing, something to do, on one of the days that you're in. So we've got Glen Rose Coffee Company. The new baked location that I mentioned when we were on site, that is here in Glen Rose. They just opened up this branch. So if you're around and you want some of the best pastries in Glen Rose. So we mentioned some restaurants you could eat at. So here are a few. River House Grill is one such. This is a unbelievable resort. I sold a house where you could see that peak. So it used to be the headquarters of this specific Rough Creek Resort. It was the headquarters where the CEO lived, and it was right across the street. I say across the street. It was a good ways because it's a big venue. But anyway, I sold that property, and I got to know some of the people. As a matter of fact, one of the managers came to look at the property because they were thinking about buying it. But we were looking at this, and it was like, man, what a place. It has a lot of cool stuff. There's some interesting history. You get the American sniper, Kyle. If you go learn about some of him, he actually stayed at this place, and very interesting venue. So if you wanted a place to come hang out for a weekend or even a little longer, that would be a place to check out. They actually have a place where they develop some homes and stuff within this community. You could also check those out. They are, in the millions, but beautiful homes and something that you might be interested in. Last but not least, so there's actually two more things we want to look at. We have the Monarch Meadows Farm. The Monarch Meadows Farm. So our church actually, for Easter, we actually leased this place out, and we had our Easter service out here at the Monarch Meadows Farm. Beautiful place. It was great. Our kids loved it. And it was just a fantastic experience. So not sure if you have any plans or looking for something like that, but this is something, you're tucked way back off the main road. You gotta, you're going down some back roads, even gravel roads, and it's really private, and it was peaceful and a lot of fun. Country Woods Inn. Here's another place that you can check out as well in the Glen Rose area. All right, so those are some places that we wanted to highlight. If you're coming into Glen Rose, go back through the video, write some of these down, and hopefully you'll have a good time while you're visiting. We're going to do a quick review of the pros and cons of Glen Rose. So you got affordable cost of living with very low property taxes. This is anecdotal. I took someone that was relocating from another state out here. They went and looked in Burleson, and they looked in Glen Rose. Burleson, there's a lot more homes for sale, and so the housing prices are becoming more competitive, so you can get a better house at a better price in Burleson, or so it seems. Once we actually factored in the price of the property taxes, the houses in Glen Rose are actually cheaper. Even though the sales price is higher, the monthly cost was actually lower in Glen Rose. So you need to be mindful of that when you're considering purchasing a home. You want to be mindful of the total cost that's going to be involved due to property taxes. Somerville County, Glen Rose has very competitive property tax rates, and therefore sometimes, even though the price let's just say you're looking at a $500,000 house in Glen Rose, and you're looking at a $450,000 house in Burleson, the $500,000 house in Glen Rose is probably going to be cheaper per month than the one in Burleson because of the property taxes. All right, so tight-knit, safe community. It reminds me of Toller in the sense that it's a smaller town, and it's not a lot of hustle and bustle, but it is much bigger than Toller. It has more shopping, more restaurants, more places to eat than you're going to find in Toller. But it still feels like a small town, and you have great churches and good school system here as well. Probably in general, of all the cities that I sell, the one that is consistently the most beautiful is Glen Rose. It is absolutely gorgeous. There are some one-off properties in Tolar that just have beautiful views. In Glen Rose, it's a little more common. Like the rolling hills out here, you just have some beautiful, beautiful properties. It really is staggering. If you just go drive around through Glen Rose, it'll mesmerize you. It's just a beautiful place. So from Glen Rose, if you're trying to get an idea of where it's located, let's just say you are going to be south of Granbury and you're going to be basically southwest of Fort Worth. It's further from Fort Worth than Granbury is, but I would say probably closer to Dallas. You can run up Highway 67 here and have a pretty straight shot into Dallas up 67. As a matter of fact, when I'm going to Dallas, you see this heart on the screen over here in Pecan Plantation. That's where I live. When I'm going to Dallas, I actually will cut up this way, so I can avoid some of the traffic that starts to bottle up around here. So reviewing again, if you're in Glen Rose and you're wanting to go to H-E-B or Kroger or Walmart, you will run up this road here into Granbury and you can do your shopping. So H-E-B is going to be up here, Walmart is going to be down here, Kroger is going to be over here. But you're probably talking about a 25-minute trip, to go into Granbury to do some of the shopping. Now, Glen Rose does have its own shopping. It has a grocery store and several other stores besides. It has, a meat market and farmer's market and coffee shops and restaurants and all of that. So we did a video of Tolar recently out here, and Tolar is a lot less developed than a place like Glen Rose is. So it had a lot less options. So you're more forced to go into Granbury when you live in Tolar than you are in Glen Rose. But you're also a lot closer from Tolar when you go in to Granbury. Glen Rose, you are going to have, 15, 20-minute trip, Walmart or whatever. So on the map, that is something to consider so that you understand kind of where you're located. You can continue down 67 from Glen Rose. You could also run into Stephenville. It's a little bit further than Granbury, but depending on where you're at in Glen Rose, let's just say, for example, you live in Glen Rose, but you're on the outskirts, like over here. Well, it might make more sense for you to just run into Stephenville because you're on that side of town. But it's probably 25, 30 minutes to Stephenville from this little spot here to get there. All right, so we're going to do a quick review of the pros and cons of Glen Rose. We've already hit most of the cons. You got a strong community and you got the commutes. Cons. These small towns, it's pretty common across the board. You're going to have a limited job market. A lot of the people that are moving out here are at a age where they're either working remote or they only have to go into the office a couple days a week, or they're retired. That's where they're at. So not a lot of jobs. If you're used to bigger city living like Fort Worth or even some of the big cities and you're relocating from there, Glen Rose doesn't have a whole lot to do in terms of entertainment. You're going to have to drive to Granbury to go to the cinema, opera house or whatever. There's just not a lot of options for you if you're looking for something like that. So it is a smaller population. It has a small amount of activities, so walking, jogging, parks. There's not a lot of those in the city. So if that's something that you're used to, that might be a negative or a con for you if you're looking at it. But that's really the main cons of Glen Rose. So let's go look at how many homes are available. So we're on the MLS right now. This is the systems that we use as realtors when we track things. One of my favorite neighborhoods in the city is Deer Creek, which I actually highlighted on the video. We went and walked it. So here is one property in Deer Creek. So I'll show it to you. This is a beautiful home, nice lot. And, as you can see, high-end, quartz countertops. Just a nice home. So how many homes are there in the 300 to 500 range? There are 29. Out of those, there are 3 that are under contract. As you can see, there are a lot of homes on the market. Because of that, people are working out pretty good deals for themselves. Let's go look at one that is in the 350. This one's on Mesa Drive. This is also a newer home that's being built. It's only one photo because it's in the process of being built. So 350, it's 2,000 square foot, brand new construction. Let's look at one that's closer to the 400 price point. This one here on 125 Camelot, for example. This is a nice home. It's not a new construction by any means. Has a different layout, not what you would typically expect, especially with the modern floor plans that are currently being built. Look at the lot size. You're at 1/3 of an acre. 399, 2,000 square foot. You're at 194 a foot. So let's go back and let's just do a different price point. So that was 3 to 5. Let's do 500 to 800,000 and see what we have available in the city here. We have this property that actually owned 12 acres. 12 acres, and seems that the focus is on the outside on this one, for sure. Acres look good. Hey, the inside is really not too bad. Square footage, 2118. All right, let's look at this one that's actually under contract. This is an 1,800 square foot home on 20 acres. Nice outdoor patio. We can have a shop here. Yeah, this is definitely the acreage here. 20 acres, probably ag exempt. Looks like it's under contract. So these are some properties you can get, you know, if you're interested in something like this. And Glen Rose, some really nice homes, nice properties, great community, lower property taxes. So here's some examples of what you could find in the Glen Rose market. So anyway, I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of the sort of properties that are available so that you could at least have a feel for it. You know, sometimes you're looking, what can you get if you're looking in Tennessee? What can you get if you're looking in Tyler, Texas, or if you're looking in some of these other areas that might be on your radar? So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, if you like any advice, if you want to visit with me for a few minutes, feel free to reach out to me anytime. We can schedule a call or a Zoom. We can get face-to-face. Maybe you can come in and we can grab breakfast at Baked or something like that one day. Love the chance to connect with you. If we don't hear from you, I hope to see you around Glen Rose sometime.